Hi, Warriors. Welcome to Whip Around Wednesday. I want to start off with the dollar index here, which is diverging up here. I'm I took a counter trend trade in the room in pound, longer term time frames. The RSI's, saying this will not be the low. Well, I was thinking there might be at least, something counter trend here. I'm long from 121.44, risking 100 pips, thinking we could rally 150, 200. I mean, it's been a huge move from the breakdown at 26.20, almost at the head and shoulders top objective, 26. That takes it down to about 21. So attempting longs there. Yen is making new highs here. I'm still scaling in the yen. What's happening here the next 48 hours is end of month flows, favors the dollar. It's interesting that the yen is up because part of my call for why I think there will be a correction in the yen is the 10-year, which is starting to come off. We could retest this 457 level, which, will continue to give the yen some juice. But it's a very contrarian trade now to be looking for a peak in yields. Now that everyone who was looking for lower yields has shifted over to accepting higher for longer, I still believe what's going to be behind yields coming back in is going to be risk off in the stock market. And we've had a real nice break. People are trying to buy it here. There could be rallies at any time, but as I've been saying for weeks, maybe months now, that the battleground is here at 4,200. I think the bulls are going to try and make a stand here, but there will be tiers under 4,200. We start closing under 4,200. There are counts at 41. I'm actually looking for 3,900 before there's a substantial bear market rally. I'm figuring 3,900, then maybe back to 42, and then the big break into early next year, which unless we take out 4,600, that's when the scenario would change. We start taking out these highs. You could probably even say above these highs at 520. And I just want to come back to the fact that I was talking about selling the market here on this bounce at 4,500. It stretched to 20. We had another chance here at 4,500. So the bulls are starting to think this is, well, not starting to think. They think it's just an ABC that we're going to bottom in here and then be at new highs into the end of the year. We do have the government shutdown. It's really not a black swan unless it drags on for a long time. If they settle something, just push it off to November and we rally. I think it's a sale on strength. But this is really going to be the test for whether or not this just is a pause to refresh or there's something more serious afoot. And that would be negating the breakout, which ended up being this parabolic move to the upside. That's going to happen there at 42. Regarding the metals, if you've taken my analysis seriously, you've avoided a lot of heartache. Gold is still pushing lower. There are some formations that come in right around this 1880 level. I'm still looking for the March levels to be tested in the gold. I posted a bear flag that we had in silver. Last week we broke down from that bear flag. Yesterday, it's going to be approaching some trend line support here that, let's say, just put it against the last low, which we're on the verge of breaking. My view has not changed. Still think we're going to see a 20 handle in silver. That's why if we do get this pullback in the dollar and bounce and euro and cable. It's not the bottom, but just another bottom, because 106.50 is not my final target for that. So also you stayed out of the minors, which you should be pretty happy about that too. I mean, they're free falling. I've been talking about them taking out this 27 double bottom for a while. Look at the junior silvers have already done it. So the miners have really led this sell-off, including equities. They're already back and underneath the March lows. So if they led on the way down, I think that the miners are going to give us the first sign of bottoming, that they will bottom before equities. So that's something to pay attention to. We're approaching some important wedge support and things like BTG. You know, I have this wedge support at 240. I was talking about AG getting to wedge support. We're right there. You know, I just can't buy the miners here with lower targets that I have for silver. So, you know, I'm going to key off the physical as well, and not go with the miners. I think there's going to be great buying opportunities. Um, this is one that has held up the best, like you saw SILJ taking out the lows, and AG making new lows. Fortuna has not made new lows. In fact, it's approaching the 78.6 level. I'm going to be interested to see what it does there. I may even put a little on, just out of the principle that it's one of the miners that is not making a new low. There are a few others, like Kinross Gold is not making a new low, although I still think it's vulnerable to see $4 again or so. The whole world is bullish oil right now, and you know, it's understandable. I would be starting to pull in my horns a little bit, as we're about to make new highs without confirming. And when you look at it, basically the dollar, oil, and yields have all been running together. So we'll see getting a nice little pop here in TLT. You know, that's really been the most bearish. And we've cleaned out last October lows. I'm on the lookout for something counter trend here as well. Here's your weekly. For a long time, I've been talking about that these lows would be taken out because of what? That we had a confirmed low. Well, we're not confirming down here, are we? Okay, so this is the zone to start stalking something for a bear market rally in bonds. And part of that would be S&P's taking out 4,200, and perhaps the employment number, I believe, is a week from Friday, finally showing some more weakness, or surprising weakness in some of the numbers that could really be the catalyst for yields to come back in, yen to peak, and for a breather in the dollar. So always welcome you guys to come into the room and share. You know, we're up a little bit today in Amazon, but you know, look at these last 2 weeks. We've had pretty good follow through in Amazon. I'm sure it's due for a bounce. We're already down 15%. Talked about it up here, guys. All right, so we're in some support here. Microsoft has gotten annihilated. It's due for a bounce. Looking at NVIDIA, actually a little bit more relative strength, but you know, hanging on by a thread. I still think that we're going to trade lower into the gap on NVIDIA. Let's see. Apple, not much of a bounce here today. Apple's still looking very vulnerable to me. So I think the hook is going to be that when yields start coming down, people are going to say, well, yields are coming down and the dollar's coming in. Why aren't stocks railing? And what's going to be behind it all is a growth scare. I don't know if you want to call it a recession, but I think there's going to be a growth scare going into the first quarter of next year. I hope that what I'm doing here for you guys is adding value. If it is, hit the like button. I always go and check out comments if you want to, insult me or thank me. It's there in the comments, and Mike will be with you in an hour and a half. I have Tavi Costa at Tavi Costa tomorrow for our Thursday interview, and I'll also be on with Mike. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. A lot of great trades, intermediate term setting up during the month of October. Stay tuned. Adios.